Lord, I bow down before you. I was lost in despair, but nobody knew, 'cause I smiled through it all, and I constantly prayed to you. I needed a kind word, a smile or a hug. I needed to know that somebody loved me, 'cause I felt so all alone. But lo and behold,
in the midst of it all,
in the midst of it all,
you encouraged my soul.
Yeah, you did.
So I won't let go.
I won't let go. I'll just keep
holding on.
Keep holding on. In the
midst of it all,
right in the middle,
you encourage my soul.
That's what your word
so
did.
I won't let go.
Your word encouraged me.
I'll just keep
holding on. Holding on. So I stayed, Lord, in your presence, 'cause I believed you would hear me, but I didn't know you were already moving. Lord, you were there all along. Then you sent down your angels to lift my head up just a little higher. And that's when I knew you heard me, saw me, loved me. Yes, you did. And once again I regained hope in the midst of it all. Right in the midst of it all,
you encourage my soul, so I won't let go.
I won't let go. I'll just keep holding on. Whoa. In the midst
of it all,
in the middle of my mess, you began to bless.
you encourage my soul,
so I won't let go.
I'll just keep holding
on. Weeping may last all night, joy will come in the morning light, 'cause you never fail to supply my needs. And the more I prayed, the more I knew your love for me would see me through, and your favor and grace fell on me. In the midst
of it all,
that's when it happened, yeah.
you encourage my soul,
so I won't let go. I'll just keep holding on to your unchanging hand. In the midst
of it all,
you encourage me, my whole soul.
so I won't let go. I'll just keep
holding on. In the midst
of it all,
ooh,
you encourage my soul,
I
so
won't
I
let go.
won't let go.
I can't let go.
I'll just keep
Holding on.
holding on in the midst of it all.
In the midst of it all,
You encourage my soul.
you encourage my soul. Can't let go. This is your pastor, R.C. Blakes. Once again, I am so thrilled today about the word that I have to share with you. I think it's going to really, really help you. I know I say that all of the time, and it's because I really aim to deliver a word that helps you, that empowers you to live better lives and to maximize your potential as believers. Now, you know what the drill is. Do what you must to invite some others to come in and to be a part of this conversation. Let me just get something straight there. Yeah, I am so moved by this one. We're talking today about the danger of anger. Needless to say, when you are sitting in anger, the danger of anger, your relationships are going to always be strained. Anger, a person that stays in a state of anger will damage relationships with family, with friends, colleagues, co-workers, and the list goes on. And this will ultimately lead to what? Isolation and loneliness unnecessarily. But it's going to damage your relationships. It's only so far people can go with somebody that's always angry. I don't like personally being in the company of folk who only have negative things to say. You mad with the people driving in the next lane. You ain't got nothing but negative things to say about the people that you up in their face all the time. You know, you have nothing but negative things to say about your pastor, about your family, about your spouse. Man, I got to get out of your presence as soon as possible. And when you are an angry person, you don't realize it, but you are more than you realize turning good people away from you because they just can't deal with that anger. Good people do not want to be associated with folk who are angry all of the time. Your energy is just entirely too toxic, and angry people are a major liability. Major liability. It's a high maintenance situationship when you have to deal with an angry person all the time, and you got to walk on eggshells, and you know you got to try to compensate for their emotions. You got to apologize for stuff they said or stuff they did. You know, you're going to destroy your relationships, man, if you don't get a handle on this anger. Proverbs 15:18 says, a hot-tempered person stirs up conflict, but the one who is patient calms a quarrel. Yeah. A hot-tempered person stirs up conflict. You're going to stir up conflict everywhere you go. Now, every situation, you don't get along with your parents, you don't get along with your siblings, you can't make a relationship with a significant other work out, you don't get along with your children, you don't get along with your church, you don't get along with nobody. And every time there's a falling out, it's always somebody else's fault. Really? What are the chances of that? That you have such, as the world might say, bad luck, as we would say in the kingdom. You are so cursed that God has allowed you to have dirty parents, dirty siblings, dirty children, dirty friends, a dirty church. God allowed you to have all these dirty people in your life, and ain't nothing wrong with you. You squeaky clean. Hey, get on up out here with that. Get on up out here with that. You are destroying your relationships, and you need to stop blaming everybody else. You need to stop blame shifting, and you need to accept the fact that I have anger issues and other folk are not required to deal with it. Your anger is not my responsibility. That's your responsibility to go and make certain that
you dispose of this anger in whatever way is necessary, that you calmly confront, that you forgive, that you remove if necessary, that you reposition, and that you resume if you desire to do so. But your relationships are going to be strained. There are people right now that I can't fellowship with. I love them, but I can't fellowship with you. You bring too much negative energy. You always in something. You always got something you mad about. Somebody you mad with. No. I got enough to do to keep my own heart pure than to have to deal with your stuff. And then you also, when you think about it, one of the detriments to you personally is that your spiritual well-being, obviously, comes under fire. Persistent anger can hinder one's spiritual growth and even relationship or fellowship with God will be a better way to say it. When you're walking in anger, you may be jeopardizing your fellowship with God. James chapter 1, 19 and 20 reads like this. My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen. We kind of mentioned this earlier. Slow to speak and slow to become angry, because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. When you're in anger, you know, anger sitting in you can create 4 or 5 sins that you never would have committed. You're going to start cussing. You're going to start saying things about people. You're going to probably do some stuff you have no business doing. You're going to probably hurt innocent people. Come on now. You know, anger drives us to do a lot of things that will ultimately pull us out of proper alignment with God. So that's why I thank God I've grown to a point that when folk do things against me that I don't like, and, you know, it doesn't feel good, I choose to forgive immediately. I choose to forgive most of the time without ever even having to have a conversation. There are people today that have said things, done things against me. They don't even have a clue I know they did this. It doesn't matter that they know or not. You know, I allow when I find out that you don't like me, I'm going to love you even harder. And I'm going to let my witness eat you up. I'm going to let Holy Spirit deal with you through my witness. And I've had folk come back and say, Pastor, you know, man, I just want to apologize. I said some things and I did X, Y, Z, and I felt this way about you, and I was completely wrong. Really? You know, I'm not going to sit in anger and allow anger to pull me out of alignment with God. I'm not going to allow my getting out of alignment with you or you being out of alignment with me. Let's put it that way. I'm not going to let your being out of alignment with you put me in a position where I get out of alignment with God. No, babe, it ain't that serious. You ain't that important. When you think about the detriments of anger and the detriments that how it impacts other people, it brings about anger creates division. Because an angry individual will create division within the community, leading to strife and discord among any community's members. That's why I have sons and daughters. I have friends that, this one don't like that one. And I'm like, well, you know, hey, ain't nobody gonna make me choose until you do something that I feel like I gotta release you. You my friend. And until you do something, you my friend. So you don't tell me nothing about this one and don't tell me nothing about that one. And that's the way I rock. Because I'm not gonna let your personal anger create division between me and the others. You know, like couples or spouses break up that are part of the ministry or part of my life. And then one or both parties feel like I'm supposed to cut the other part, cut them all because we ain't together no more. No, babe, that's y'all. I ain't got no divorce from them. That's your divorce. I'm still their pastor. I can't stop being their pastor because you mad with them. But anger will create division. This is what happens in churches. You know, this is what happens in churches. You get one person that's angry and they don't deal with it properly. And they go around and they poison the minds of a bunch of other people. And now you got them, their family, and all the friends of their family that's now mad with you as the pastor about something they said, and they didn't even really get the full story. They didn't even talk to you about it. They didn't talk to half the church. And I had a situation at our Houston church where, you know, there was a complete and total misunderstanding. Nobody ever asked me anything. Nobody ever asked me anything about what happened with this. Just the wrong impression was made. And folk assumed that I, as the pastor, did something to so-and-so. That's why so-and-so left. And I looked around, man, a whole church of people then walked off and left the church without ever even having a conversation with me. One person get angry, and now, I got a whole congregation of people. I mean, it felt like a whole congregation. It was a large number of people. Just walked off and left the church. Oh, my goodness. Proverbs 29:22 says an angry person stirs up conflict. An angry person does what? Stirs up conflict. You know, when you see somebody that's messy in the church or on a job, be careful with them. They're stirring up conflict. The same person that talks about them or talks about them to you is talking to you about them is talking to them about you, because that's what angry people do. They stir up conflict. They want somebody to get on their side. It generates, when you let anger just sit in you, it generates a lack of trust. Constant anger erodes trust within the community, making it difficult for relationships to thrive and for cooperation to occur. One of the biggest mistakes we make as pastors in churches is to approach our pulpits as though we're angry all the time. It's unnecessary, really. If you are really in authority and you really have a vision, it's unnecessary for you to always come to your pulpit like you have to get people straight. You don't have to get people straight all the time. Not if you're really the pastor. You can speak the truth in love. I can say, okay, now, babies, we're not going to do it like this. No. Pastor don't want it done like that now. With a smile on my face. And you know what? That means the same thing as if I got to say, now y'all did X, Y, Z. And I mean, I don't want it done like that no more. And I mean, if you don't like it, the dough works both ways. I used to be ignorant like that. Very stupid, very foolish. Very, 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 very foolish. And when you approach your leadership from an angry place, people don't trust you. You can't abuse me one moment and then ask me to trust you the next. In a lot of this leadership we have in churches, people don't trust us because we are abusive. It happens in parenting. You're always, beating on a child that you never celebrate. And that anger that sits in you all the time breeds a lack of trust. Proverbs 22:24-25 reads like this: do not make friends with a hot-tempered person. Do not associate with one easily angered, or you may learn their ways and get yourself ensnared. Because what happens is, and this is just for people that are sitting under abusive leadership, abusive, angry leadership. What happens is that stuff begins to show up in you. You sit there under this abusive leadership where somebody always, putting you in hell and always, prophesying doom over you. This gonna happen to you because you ain't do what I tell you to do. That's witchcraft, first of all. Trying to control people like that, that's witchcraft. Get on up out here with that. That little prayer you praying, that little prophecy ain't hitting the ceiling. That came straight from your mouth, hit the floor. That ain't went nowhere. Get on up out here with that. But if you sit up under that kind of angry leadership, you begin to learn that stuff. You take on that spirit. And so now you go into the job, you open up your phone, you get on social media with that same little, angry spirit. And folk can't trust you when you're always angry. I say to women that have men that have all of these anger issues, if you got a man that's always ready to fight other men in the street, just every day he's ready to fight 3-4 days a week, he ready to fight somebody, he ready to jump out his car, how can you trust that anger is not going to be swung in your direction one day? You can't trust people that are angry all the time. This is why some of y'all, you don't have any, you carry no weight in your circles. It's because people don't trust you. You can't have influence. Well, number 3. Oh, and number, what is this? Not 3. This would be number 7. Yeah, number 7. Should have numbered these things. When you're angry all the time, you become a negative influence. I kind of alluded to this already. An angry person can negatively influence others in the community, perpetuating a cycle of anger and negativity. I went to a home many years ago to bless the home. Yeah. I don't have time to do much of that anymore. But this was way back in the day at New Home Ministries, East New Orleans, back there in Littlewoods. I went to a home back there in Littlewoods to bless the home. And man, I opened the door, and they opened the door rather, and I walked in, a little baby that they carrying in the arm, a little toddler. Still got a little bottle in his mouth or whatever. And man, that child started using more language, more blankety blanks. I won't call the letters. Just start using them words, big words. And man, they trying to tell me, oh, I don't know where he got that from. I know where he got it from. He heard y'all around here cussing like that. And how many of us have children? This is not only is this the most angry generation, I believe, I think this generation is probably on record of having more children with anxiety issues. You know why? Because they're living in the homes of angry parents. They're going to school sitting under angry teachers. Wow. Because when you are an angry person, you negatively influence your circle. You begin to show up, you and all of your drama and your negativity begins to show up on the lives of anybody associated with you. That's why I try to break connection with angry people like that as soon as possible. Because I can't have that negativity showing up in me. Right? See, all I need to do is just be around somebody cussing, and then, there my mouth go to flying. That spirit is that seed is already in me. Yeah, anybody know me know that thing is already in me. Well, I can't help myself by being around somebody that's cussing all the time, mad about something, and then there's blanket flying off at the mouth, and then there I am, supposed to be a man of God, flowing off at the mouth. Oh my God. If you gotta say 7 times a day, Lord, forgive me for what I said, I ain't mean that, Lord. You got some work to do. Proverbs 16:29 says, a violent person entices their neighbor and leads them down a path that is not good. Leads them down a path that is not good. I think I learned my diplomacy from my father. My father could be a very direct person, but then he was also a diplomat. If he was in certain situations, he never let himself get too hot-tempered. I would see him reason his way through with certain people, and if he couldn't reason with them, he would move on and he would disconnect. You know what I mean? But I think I learned my diplomatic skills of not becoming too emotional, too angry from my father, because just like you can learn the negative from a person, you can learn the positive. My father was a very even-keeled man, you know, that managed his anger. He's a very strong man. If he had anger issues, wow. And if anybody had a resume that says, okay, this person has a right to be angry, my father would have been that man, which no one has a right to be angry, not when God has set you free, right? And then number 8, you got to understand this as a Christian, as a believer. Anger will always impair your witness. Anger will always reflect on your Christian witness. An angry individual's behavior can tarnish the community's witness to the world. You can take one angry person in the church. Okay, here's a great example. You take one angry person in a whole congregation, there may be 1,000 people in there. And you take one angry person that mishandles a first-time visitor. You know what that visitor is going to leave out of there saying? I ain't going back to New Home no more. There's some angry people over there. Your particular issue has now become ours because angry people live with impaired witnesses or an impaired witness. You can talk about saving the world all you want. As long as you walk around here with that scowl and those rocks in your jaws, it's going to hinder the spread of the gospel and the impact of Christian values. There are folk now that don't want anything to do with the church because we have this little angry mob of so-called believers out here with cell phones and access to social media that's getting on here talking about this one going to hell, that one going to hell. Everybody already know that. Preach the gospel. You don't have to go to hell. Jesus died for you. He loves you just like you are. Come on, accept him. I don't hear you saying that. And so you are misrepresenting Christianity when you get on there and you got all these prophecies and doom and you know, you just got all of this anger you've not processed, and now it's reflecting on the witness of the church. How you gonna get your children saved when you cussing them out all day? You ain't got no, you don't have no basis to have no witness in your family. You cussing your children, you calling them everything but a child of God all day long. Then on Sunday, you want to talk about, you want to come to church with me, you need to be saved. Your child sitting there saying, you need to be saved first. Because I don't see no evidence of it. Your witness is always impaired when you live with an angry spirit. Colossians 4:6 reminds us, let your conversation or your lifestyle be always full of grace, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how to answer everyone. Actually, that's talking about your actual conversation. Let your conversation or your speech be always full of grace, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how to answer everyone. Because if you fly off at the handle with all of this anger, you're going to have no influence in the name of God. You will have no influence over your community. So my prayer is that you have gleaned something from our conversation today. That's my prayer. That's my prayer for you, that you've been able to see yourself and that you're submitted to Holy Spirit and that you will allow him to do the work of deliverance within you. And my prayer is that God will deliver you from an angry spirit. Now, today, as we prepare to honor the Lord with our tithe and with our seed, those of you that love the Lord, you're members of this ministry, be it in the physical sense or in the cyber sense, I want you to get the Lord's tithe prepared, whatever that is. look on the screen. You'll see all of the apps whereby you may give digitally. I want you to utilize one of those. And then I want everybody that is able and willing, I want you to get your seed. I'm asking you to sow a $42 seed today. That's what I'm asking you to give today, is a $42 seed. Now, you may not have as much. Do the best you can. You may desire to do more. Do what the Holy Spirit has inspired you to do, or you may desire to do nothing. Perfectly fine. Willing and able. Now listen, as we continue to give, as we continue to tithe, I want you to remember this Sunday, which is Resurrection Sunday at our main campus, we're having 2 services. Yes, 2 services. I'm going to have 8 a.m. service at 1616 Robert C. Blake Sr. Drive in the Temple, 8 a.m. service. Yes, we're having 8 a.m. service for Resurrection Sunday. And my brother's going to be there for 10:30 a.m., our regular time. But those of you that want an earlier experience, I encourage you to come and meet me for 1 hour of power. It's going to have to be timely because I'm leaving that service, going to the airport, and I'm flying to Houston, Texas, to be in our 11 a.m. service at Houston on Resurrection Sunday. After our 11 a.m. service in Houston, we're going to have fish fry. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So I will personally be physically at New Home, New Orleans, Uptown, 1616 Robert Blake Sr., 8 a.m., and I'll be at Houston, Texas, 4805 Shermont Road for 11 a.m. on Resurrection Sunday. And of course, Bishop Bolden at our East New Orleans location, Pastor McKay at our Hammond location, Bishop Robertson at our Jackson, Mississippi location, my brother Bishop Sam at our Baton Rouge 8 a.m. service, and at our 10:30 New Orleans Uptown service. Am I missing anybody? We got so many churches, so many pastors. So I'm looking forward to 8 a.m. service in the temple for Resurrection Sunday and 11 a.m. at our Houston, Texas campus. I love you all. I want you to know you're on top. You're going higher. God has more in store for you. If you want to know where to get these, go to RCBLAKESStore.com and they will get it out to you. They have the sweatshirts, they have t-shirts. Go to RC Blake Store. Check that out. You know this is our thing. How you doing? On top, going higher. You know that's New Home right there. On top, going higher. Love you. See you this Sunday morning. Resurrection Sunday is going to be amazing. He lives. He lives. He is risen.
Well, family, that was a life-changing word from our Bishop R.C. Blakes Jr. I love it that he just teaches us something great that will impact our life. I know Bishop has already given you the different ways and means that you can sow into our ministry, be a blessing to our church, but I want you to know about a way you can be a blessing to our man of God. As a matter of fact, take out your phone right now and scan that QR code. You can sow into his Cash App that way, or if not, you can put in $ ROBERTBLAKESJR. You can also sow through his personal website or go to the Givelify app and sow to New Home Family Worship Center. Sow a good seed into Bishop Blake's life. It is good ground.